So inside here, there's a page where you have all your chemicals. So really with this kit, it's a home test kit, and it's going to take care of the 4 most important things: your free chlorine, total chlorine, pH, and total alkalinity. The bottom 4 are still important, but not as important. But just once a month, you get a water sample, you bring it up to the pool store, and we'll test that for you. Okay. But with this guy, it's a good thing to try to do it at least twice a week with a new pool. In about 7-8 months, you'll notice that the demand on acid has kind of came down a little bit, and really at that point you can start really doing it once a week. But in the beginning, you're going to easily go through, you know, a gallon to maybe even a gallon and a half of acid in this size of a pool a week. Okay.
For how long?
For about 8 months.
Almost the rest of the year.
Yes, sir. But in here you'll find 2 different types of tablets. DPD number 3 automatically you don't even need to worry about because you have the ozone system. So this tests your combined chlorine, and you don't have any combined chlorine. So DPD number 1 is very important to figure out how much free chlorine you have, and of course this is going to be the one that you adjust your salt system with. But you just want to grab a sample. So I usually, if I fill it up to this line for the chlorine, this is going to be where you measure your chlorine. Over here is your pH, and right there is your alkalinity, just 2 separate tests. But I usually fill it up to the pH line and then the chlorine line, and we'll look at both of those first. So pH, that's what you're probably going to mostly struggle with a lot with this type of water that you have. But really any new pool has a lot of pH problems, because that's, you know, you have the new gunite and you have the new plaster, and all that is leaching calcium up through, kind of like a new driveway or whatever. You see some white spots on it, and that's causing pH problems. But you also multiplied with the bad water that you have, it's going to be real important that you manage your pH. So to check chlorine, we're just going to take DPD number 1. We want to try not to touch it. And that one's actually busted. I think it's okay. Try not to touch it as much as possible. Drop it in there. See, I don't have to touch that one. But you got a lid. So this, to me, is a great chlorine level. A little high, I guess, but. So did you shock anytime?
Brad's son did.
Okay.
About a week ago, but that should have already gone out, right?
Yeah, well, I like plenty of chlorine. I would say this is probably about a 4, maybe 5. Summertime, you definitely want to keep it at least 2 to 3. So if we had our salt system going right now, and say we're set on 50, maybe I'm bringing it down to 30, you know?
Okay.
So, but anytime up until we get the salt system going and you test your chlorine, and you know you have tablets in there, and it's normally going to be after a bunch of swimming activities. If y'all swim like all weekend or something, and you almost have no chlorine, then just drop in 2 bags of shock.
Okay.
Because those tablets aren't going to do a great job keeping up right now, especially if you're doing a lot of swimming. So. All right. So pH. pH is the devil. So our first thing we do when we check our pH is we want to get all this chlorine out of here. So this bottle is called the chlorine neutralizer, and the directions on the kit say if your chlorine level is 1.5 or higher, then you need to make sure you use 2 drops. If it's anything lower, then 1 drop is good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 drops. We got a pretty decent chlorine level. Kind of give that a mix. And your pH bottle is always 5 drops, no matter what. Okay, so just be prepared. If you only, and it's fine, but if you only check the water twice a week, I mean, that's really what I recommend. I mean, you could check it more, but you know, at least when you add chemicals, you want to give it a day or so before you put more in there. You know what I'm saying? So twice a week to me is good. But if you only check it twice a week, this is what you're going to see every single time. You're going to see a high pH. It's either going to be 7.8 or 8.2. And at this point, you just need to figure out how much acid you need. Okay? So there's a bottle called the acid demand. And I'm simply just going to take this, put it in the pH solution, count the number of drops it takes to change it to 7.2. Okay? Then we can actually look at our chart, and it will tell us how much acid we need. So just go 1 drop at a time. The lid on, give it a shake. I believe this is 6. Maybe you need one more. So that looks like it's 7.6, right? So we need one more, be 7 total. Did that get us down to 7.2? Yeah. So it got us down to 7.2, 7 drops.
Okay.
Okay. So now you want to look at 25,000, 7 drops. This is your drops across the top. You follow that over, and it's telling us we could use 1 1/8 gallon. Is that correct?
No.
Yeah.
My pool's more 20,000.
More 20? Okay. 3/4 a gallon.
Okay.
So I did.
Could just call it 1 gallon, I guess.
Yeah. 3/4 a gallon. So, but the way it works is, although right now your pH is high, it's creating calcium. Also, when your pH is high, your chlorine is not as effective, so you start getting more bacteria in the pool. Okay. pH very important, but you also have alkalinity. Okay, so alkalinity is nothing but the measurement of how easy that pH will change. If your alkalinity is real high, the pH does not want to change. So when you're doing your kit, you always want to test the pH, figure out how much acid you need to fix that. Then you test the alkalinity, and that's going to tell you which one to fix. Okay, anytime the alkalinity is high, you fix it instead of the pH. Both of them are lowered with muriatic acid. It's just the difference is the alkalinity takes a whole lot more, because when you fix the alkalinity, it actually fixes the pH and the alkalinity. Okay, but when you fix the pH, it's just the pH. So anytime you're gonna have to add a bunch of fresh water to the pool, that's going to affect your alkalinity. Anytime you get like that's going to raise your alkalinity in fresh water. But anytime you get like a heavy thunderstorm, that's going to lower your alkalinity, because it's more like an acid rain. So, but alkalinity is very important to fix before the pH. Okay. So, and that does kind of remind you right here. So pH and alkalinity are off. Just make sure you fix the alkalinity first.
How do we test the alkalinity?
Okay? Well, we're going to dump this out, and I'm going to get a water sample down at the bottom line there.
Okay.
All right. So right now you got to look at, you could consider yourself a chlorine pool. Okay, there's really 2 different types of alkalinities you can have. When you have a salt pool, you want it to be 60 to 70. But when you have a chlorine pool, it's okay if it's 90 to 100. So that's what we're going to look at, trying to get it there today, just to 90 to 100. So we really want to start off the same way we started off by testing out the pH, by getting all the chlorine out of here. Okay, so our chlorine level was a little high, so we definitely need 2 drops. And if you make a mistake and put extra in there, it's okay. I mean, don't pour it out and
Redo it.
Yeah. You could put 10 drops in there. You got all the chlorine out.
Right.
So, and then your alkalinity solution's always just 1. Alrighty. So here we just need to figure out what is your parts per million. We want to be around 90 to 100. But just remember, once we put salt in there, we want it 60 to 70. Okay. But today we're just going to figure it out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our acid demand again, And we're going to count however many drops it takes to turn this a clear yellow color. Then we take our number of drops and we multiply by 10, and that's what your alkalinity is. So hopefully we're around 9 to 10 drops. Anything over that, then we know we need to fix the alkalinity instead of the pH. Okay? So go one at a time, give a little swish. There's 3. There's 6. So there's 9. There's 10. So we definitely have an alkalinity problem. Jesus. One more. So 21 drops. Yeah, it's insane. That's just your water quality, bro.
So that's done, almost double.
Yeah, it's just your water quality. I mean, it'll never get this bad again. I know it's been a little while since I came over here and added acid, but if you stay on top of it and you check it twice a week, it'll never get this bad again. All right, so if we need to get down, let's just say we need to drop it by 100 parts per million. I mean, well, we could even say we need to drop it by 120 parts per million.
Right.
Okay. So when you fix an alkalinity, you got to go by the alkalinity side. So this is lowering alkalinity, this is raising it. So we're going to go 20,000 gallons. Well, just to lower it by 30, we need 1 gallon of acid. So typically you need 4 gallons of acid.
Yeah.
And there's a way that you want to add it. Okay. If it's, say you went on vacation and you came back, your alkalinity is good, but your pH is telling you put a gallon in. Okay. Well, if it's your pH and your alkalinity is good, you put the whole gallon in right there.
Okay.
Okay. You got to stay out 30 minutes for every half a gallon that you put in the pool. Okay. But if it's the alkalinity in this case, we don't want to go and drop 4 gallons of acid in the pool all at one time, because what it's going to do is it's going to floor your pH. You're going to have too acidic water.
Okay.
So when you're fixing your alkalinity, what you want, especially in this case, when it's a lot of acid, you put half a gallon increments in. Like we could put a half a gallon in now, later on this afternoon, put another half a gallon. Do the same thing tomorrow. Do the same thing the next day. Do the same thing the next day. So you get all your 4 gallons in there. Then give it 3 days, and you can double check it or recheck it. See where you sit at.
Okay.
Okay. But for every half a gallon you put in there, see, this is the key. Is like, so your alkalinity right now is really high. Your pH is real high. You put a half a gallon in there, it's going to lower down the pH to where it needs to be, and alkalinity's come down slow. But the key to it is your kids and everybody that's swimming in that water is swimming with a good pH.
Yeah.
Now you have to keep on working on that alkalinity, otherwise that pH is going to come back up. But you're always going to have to add something. You're never really going to come out here and check the water and say, well, it's good today. I mean, it's always like, man, it was great. It was bad the other day, and now it's even worse. I mean, it's just something that it has to do with weather. It has to do with adding fresh water. I mean, swimming, all that stuff. Filtration. So, and really when you have, and that's one of the bad things about having a high chlorine level, because when your chlorine level is high, like you have right now, you tend to have a little bit more pH problems. Okay.
Okay.
So I can, I'm sure you don't have 4 gallons. So I'll go get a case out of the truck for you. And we'll put a half a gallon in now.